broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
I continue to have no shame in my opening music choices for this podcast. Hello, Robots in Disguise fans, and welcome to another AFTERBUZZ TV Robots in Disguise after show. Today we are covering episode 25, Battlegrounds Part 1, the penultimate episode for this season, and boy did things get real. Joining me today is Megan Lord Megantron Salinas.
Hey everybody, you can tweet at me at the Menguin, that's TheMenguin.
And I am Katie Kia Prime Cullen. You can find me on Twitter at Kiaxet, that's Kiaxet. Emma the Speedster Fife is once again on a special mission with Meredith Prime, and unfortunately, Alexis the Record Taurus has once again had a bad run-in with some Dark Energon, so send her your well wishes, guys.
Yeah.
We miss her.
We do.
Joining us today is composer Kevin Kiner and composer and music editor Sean Kiner.
Hello. Hey, how's it going, guys?
Doing all right. Thank you so much for coming in today.
It's nice to be here. This is a good episode to be in, too.
Yeah.
This was a great episode to be in. My gosh. Let's get right into it then. I actually want to talk about Optimus first, partially because I am severely biased and partially because this is essentially the first half of the episode and has, I think, the best piece of music in it. So we have Optimus continuing his training with the Primes and with someone, my Cronus, who is still kind of a jerk.
Every time I hear him, I'm just thinking Nathan Petrelli. Because, especially, like, him hovering around doesn't help.
No, really. And then we were talking about this earlier. The one time you see him standing, it's like, oh, that's why he hovers. He's so
tiny. Small guy, isn't he?
I keep forgetting that he's a mini-con because he keeps floating around all the time. I think it's a perspective thing. And then you actually see him standing next to Optimus Prime, and you're like, oh no, there's a severe height difference there.
And I feel like he's a bigger mini-con than, say, Fix-It.
Probably.
And we're so accustomed to that size that we see this guy and it's like, okay.
Well, now we kind of see where a little bit of his personality. He has to have a big personality because everybody else is just going to treat him like he's a short guy.
Because nothing else is big. Yeah, so he's still kind of a jerk, but we've established that despite all of his training, Optimus is still, quote, not ready. But whatever this very large event is, spoilers, it's basically Robot Satan coming through, is not going to wait for him. So we have this moment where the Primes are telling him, yeah, you're not ready. And he said, I wish I'd written down the quote, but it went by too quickly for me to get something along the lines of, when innocents are in danger, planning goes by the wayside and determination and improvisation are...
Like swift action.
Swift action, that's what it was. And it was just such a great line.
Yeah, no, and I think definitely the training probably went easier for Optimus, given that he knows that no humans are actually in danger at this point.
Although I'm telling you, we did introduce the concept of death, and I'm still kind of waiting for that to play out. I'm loving the wide-eyed stare over here, just like, okay.
Probably the thing that... that kind of, I don't want to say it threw me off, but they're concerned that he wouldn't survive this process. I'm like, isn't he already dead?
Yeah.
I mean,
like,
death
might die. Been there, done that.
That's not really a big deal for him. He's died a couple times before. It's not really that big of a deal.
Maybe
like,
if you die in the afterlife, then you're like mega dead,
then
permadeath.
You're dead.
Super dead. You don't become one with the Allspark. You just...
Because that was a great line that Optimus said, but then right after, my Cronus was like, wait, I don't think you understand.
You really
could die. Like, yeah, and...
It happens about once a season, right?
I spent the last couple thousand years of my existence fighting a war where that was a very real possibility. I'm not worried. So part of this process is the primes, all 6 of them. We're
only
down
half
about
of them
half a
showed
dozen.
up.
Well, one of them was coming to Earth, and
That one doesn't count. They
that
kicked
one
him out a long
doesn't
time
count.
ago.
He's evil. But they have to transfer part of their sparks to Optimus, and we get this wonderful half Tron, half magical girl transformation. And did you guys work on the piece during this? Because this was fantastic.
Yeah.
What went into that process?
Well, I mean, with everything, I mean, you're trying to translate the character into music. You know, I have a theme for Optimus that's kind of regal, and yet also there's a darkness to his theme too. You know, it's heroic, but it's not that much darkness, but it's very regal, I would say. And so,
Well, he's been through wars.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. And, you know, it's supposed to be kind of a goosebumps moment whenever Optimus is around, you know, so try to convey that musically as well. A lot of French horns and cellos and things like that.
Big sweeping melodies.
Yeah, sweeping melody, for sure.
He's more of a landscape than a character.
That's a really good way to put it.
That's
Wow.
true. There is a lot of weight anytime he comes.
Gravitas.
Yes, that's perfect. That's a
Yeah.
good way of
That's the
saying
word.
it.
Right.
So that is basically Gravitas, the song.
Yeah, I could title it that.
And it really reminded me of Tron, of the latest one, the Daft
Tron
Punk
Legacy.
soundtrack. Thank you.
Actually, Tron Uprising.
That
There was
too.
an animated television series, and a lot of the music from this series sounds very reminiscent of that in like the best way possible.
It's probably because of how many like arpeggiated synths that we have going through things, you know? Just it's that electronic sound that we want to bring because, you know, of the mechanical nature of all the Autobots and Decepticons and stuff. But that's probably just why it is. You know, it's just that digital kind of sound.
It's fantastic. It fits super well. And just watching this scene, you know, there's part of you going, and we're having magical girl transformation for the second time in 3 episodes. And the other part's just like, shut up, this is amazing. It all depends on which part you listen to. So back on Earth, back at the ranch, we started off the episode with Sideswipe doing his free running and Strongarm catching him playing what is kind of a hilariously violent game of tag.
Right.
Which, if you have
Maybe it's
siblings,
like the pillow fights they just had over at the, what was that news thing? Was it the Air Force Academy or West Point? Oh, never mind. There were a lot
sounds like West Point because
yeah, was that
real
West?
news?
Yeah, that's real news. That's real news. People actually got injured
Printed on, like,
because they
trees
put
or
hard
something.
things in the pillows.
That's not
course.
fighting fair.
Anyhow, go ahead.
It's like giant
Sorry.
blackjacks.
That's taking away the spirit of pillow fighting.
It really is. You're in the
I
army.
think if that was Air Force, I would have heard about that. So we have them training and Sideswipe getting ticked off because Strongarm caught him and she says something that she thinks is encouraging and that may have come off as patronizing because that's kind of Strongarm's MO. And he runs straight into, my notes say Chompy and Uncle PJ because this is the shorthand that I think in. He runs into Underbite and Thunderhoof, who sound a lot alike. And that just doesn't go well for anybody involved, in that they cart him off like a sack of potatoes.
Every time Thunderhoof says anything, I always just think of Alexis just laughing because the reason he has the nickname is because apparently he sounds exactly like her uncle. That's just how he talks.
And evidently she's told her uncle this, and her uncle's like, all right.
Actually, a musical thing. Do you guys remember the first time he ever showed up? Did you hear the little mandolin doing like a Godfather type motif
Right.
behind him?
Yes.
That makes so much sense because he's a gangster.
Yeah, he is a gangster. He's sort of got the mafia thing going on. So
Puts the muscle on these
yeah,
guys.
yeah, with his accent.
I will say I'm still a little disappointed that we didn't get Scowl meeting back up with him at any point. Just 'cause he's like, hey, my muscle is back. But,
Season 2.
Season
maybe.
2. Season 2. The no longer mythical Season 2. The actual Season 2. That's what it is. And so Strongarm is attempting to get away from them with little success because, oh my god, Dive Bomb and Air Razor are really good at setting really creepy traps.
She got hit in the face.
They have
That
a
was awful.
tripwire to trip her, and while she's falling forward, they have kind of a swinging log, and it just right in the face. Oh my gosh. And you're watching that going, oh, I think, it's just a rough thing to watch.
Yeah, no, I was very, that was a very upsetting thing.
And the thing is, with things like that, in an animated series, it's easy enough to play them as a comedy, and this really super didn't.
Right, no, it didn't play like that.
So that again, carting them off like a sack of potatoes, and that's when it turns into from backup to needing a rescue mission. And that you're smiling at me. Why
I'm smiling because it led to my favorite line of the entire episode.
Remind me what that was. I don't know.
It's time to roll to the rescue.
Oh,
wait.
Right.
It's definitely in my notes, though.
Nod to Rescue Bots.
Yeah,
Oh my
no,
God.
that was my favorite. I absolutely adored that little nod.
Just the battle cry at the sneak peek. Let's roll to the rescue. Wait, someone's already using that
Somebody's
battle
got
cry.
that
Never
one
mind.
already.
Let's just roll out.
Somebody called dibs.
It's like, oh, you tried.
And it's funny because it's the one good one he's done, and then it's
I
like,
know.
it's taken already.
He's
Dang
had
it.
a few that I've actually liked. There was one a couple weeks back that worked, and it was everyone else is like, no. I'm like, but that was okay.
No, he's trying too hard. He didn't try hard with this one, and it's a good one. It's just, it was taken already.
Yeah, because it's already been used. It's like, can we just keep rollout? I mean, it's a classic, and you wind up saying it anyway, so can we just be, honey? Which makes me wonder if we'll get an actual legitimate catchphrase next episode, or if it's just not even going to happen.
That's going to be end of the series. He'll finally settle on one.
End of the
that he's
series.
okay.
The mythical season 87.
Yep. End of the series. That's everything will come full circle.
So we also have Windblade coming back, and I can't say I'm super happy with how Windblade was used this episode, because it was a lot of show up, leave, show up, capture, damsel in distress. Like, you were so cool. What happened?
It is a little bit frustrating, but I'm waiting for the next episode because she is supposedly like the chosen one sent to, deal with a lot of these issues. So I'm assuming that this is we just have to bide our time with this one. But yeah, it is a little frustrating because she is a very, I guess maybe the idea was to show...
Hyper-competent.
Yeah, I guess maybe the idea was to show that things have gotten really serious, that if even she gets captured, that it's kind of a big deal. But I definitely hear you. I'm upset by it too. It's kind of a bummer.
There's just something in that trope where it's so overused, and we're going to build this person up, but I think it's called Worf has the flu. Like, we're going to build this person up, but then, nope, denied.
It's like
not
this.
Worf has the flu. It's something else.
It's everybody
I can't remember.
talking about how this person is like the greatest person ever, and then like they stub their toe and trip or something.
It's like having someone who is established to be very strong and very capable, and then having every villain that comes along beat them up to show that this villain is very strong and very capable. And so that to me was just like, okay, and that was a thing, and it happened. Could we not get Christy Wu for more than like 5 minutes, or who knows?
She was walking down the hallway and they grabbed her, and she's like, I really don't have time for that.
We need you to record, but I'm on my way. We need you to record.
Although I do want to know what went into creating Windblade's theme,
Yes.
because you guys were saying that you have themes for all of the different characters.
It's all you.
Yeah, that one escapes me. It was a while ago, I guess.
I know. I feel bad asking because production takes so long for shows like these that sometimes when we have guests in, they were like, that was a while back. I don't even
Year and a half
remember.
ago.
I'm not even positive she has a theme. I got to be really honest with you, but
It's kind of like a sound. It's like a motif. We were just
Maybe.
going for like badassery. That was I think, the literal word that David Hartman passed down. It's like, she's a badass.
For
Make her
Windblade.
feel badass. Yeah.
She's so awesome that the music forms to her. So we cut to Steeljaw, who is not super happy with his lot in life right now. I mean, very thrilled that, hey, we have hostages and this is great, but we're not very happy with the floating head that's telling us what to do. Are we still watching a Transformer show? What is it with floating heads in this show? We've had like 3.
Yeah,
One of them
no,
was Sideswipe.
because Steeljaw, he's so adamant about how this is his mission. He's going to make this world a home for Decepticons. It's his big mission here, and he keeps getting nagged by this guy who's not even really there, but can still like hit them if he wants to.
Yeah, And we did have, like, what, 5 episodes ago, this floating head showing up and telling Steeljaw, yeah, by the way, you're here and you're free because of me, so you're gonna do me a solid? And Steeljaw wants absolutely nothing to do with that. He is the top dog, or he just doesn't participate. So,
but I like the deception, not the deception. I like the fact that there's dissension within the bad guys.
oh yeah,
You know, I think that creates a nice tension there that you don't always see in a show like this. You know, where they're actually not all just bad guys trying to get the good guys. That actually they disagree with each other, and there's some real dissension within the ranks there. I think that's kind of cool.
No, that's one of the best things about this show, is that each of the bad guys kind of has their own backstory and motive and degree of villainy. And like, probably I love seeing them work off each other, because you can tell Clampdown and Thunderhoof hate each other given their
for
history.
good reason.
And, and everything like that. And Thunderhoof hates being second fiddle to Steeljaw, and Steeljaw hates being second fiddle to this otherworldly entity.
Right.
So, you know, it does make for a lot of really interesting dynamics.
I think it's more realistic to what actually bad things would be like, you know, because they're all self-centered beings, right? So they would all just not get along because they just want their own agenda to
Exactly.
happen.
And I love the way, I want to say it might have been Adam or Jeff, but I don't remember who said it, but none of them thinks of themselves as the bad guy. It's just that
Right.
They want a very specific thing, and they're just willing to go through certain lengths to get it.
Oh yeah, every good villain thinks of themselves as the hero of their story. Steeljaw's leading a revolution.
Right.
It's just too bad that that's going to kill everyone.
That's not our problem.
The reason that the floating head is in charge is because he can evidently take control of people. He took control of one of Clampdown's claws and nearly used it to remove the other claws. So
Clamp the clamp.
Clamp the clamp, exactly. So that I kind of feel bad for Clampdown, and that he is very much the butt monkey of this group. And that he just gets kicked around.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
But you know what? He takes down Grimlock for a second later in this episode, right? So he gets
does,
his moment.
But I feel like that is a case of Worf had the flu. That is Grim not trying. Just like
I think he
turn
just
around and
tripped him,
bite
to be
him.
fair.
Can't read.
Just turn around and bite him. Holy cow, Grim. Come on.
He served the same purpose that like a rock could have. He just tripped
Pretty
Grimlock.
much.
Pretty
Then
much,
again,
yeah.
it's Clampdown. He's kind of useless. Hilarious, and I love him, but crab people is not.
I just
not
really
on the
wanted
up
him
and
to
up.
make the woo sound effect
He
when he
almost did. He went woohoo and just ran off screen, and exit stage left until your big taking down Grimlock scene, I guess. So we were laughing at that because that
But-
was very much why not Zoidberg.
But you're right. I mean, out of all of them, he's the one that probably wants to be there the least. Like, we saw that in the episode with him. Like, the first chance he got, he ran away.
He wants to be left alone by everyone, but he has also very much made himself a part of their power struggle with his wheeling and dealing, and so he can't get what he wants because he screwed himself over.
Yep, no, it backfired on him.
That is his own dang fault. I will say that I love how Windblade gets taken down, because ridiculous slapstick comedy is my jam. And so just a giant girder flying right the heck out of nowhere. It's like, do you not have motion trackers? Did you not see this go? Where did that? Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition, I guess. And that was courtesy of Underbite, which for him was the equivalent of us like throwing donuts at people to knock them down.
It looks small. It's like, is that a small stick? Oh God!
It's like, yikes. And for him, it's a waste of a perfectly good snack. Like, Underbite, honey, no, okay. So they have moved their trio of captives to the statue of Crown City, which is kind of our Statue of Liberty thing.
Yeah.
Not quite.
Yeah.
We saw that with Filch, actually,
I was
nesting
going to
in a
say,
new
was that the
crown.
last time we saw this particular set?
I think it's the last time it was featured so heavily. And that was a different part of it. So we saw that happen, and we saw, our rescuers coming up to the steel mill and going, well, this really is super abandoned. Where did they go?
I love that no one seems to notice. There are literally robots building an interdimensional portal, like right by the equivalent of the Statue of Liberty,
Right.
and no one notices.
The fan club is just kind of going by on a ferry, snapping pictures and being like, this is going to be great for the archives, you guys. Look, I can't wait for the other ones to show up. There's going to be a fight.
It'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, no, nobody notices.
As far as I'm concerned, the fan club is the thing.
No authority figures, nothing.
Well, yeah, Denny and Russell hadn't showed up yet.
Fair enough.
And let's talk about what goes down at the scrapyard, because this is one of my favorite parts of the episode. This was amazing. So they've been told they need to stay in the scrapyard because it's safer. And they close the gate. They have the security system going. And Hank shows up for the first time in a dozen episodes. And I have missed Hank so much.
I agree. She is not in the show enough.
Yeah, she's a cool kind of character.
Adorable.
Yeah.
She's really sweet. Were you guys surprised by that moment? Because I was in control of that scene, and I really wanted to play it all sweet and nice. And then, like, the second that he grabs Russell's arm, then he's like, then the shit goes down.
Right. Yeah, we were trying to decide of how much of a red herring to make it, before.
I suspected something, but I figured it was that she was either a hologram or they were going to jump out in the middle of the conversation as soon as Russell jumped down. I wasn't expecting it to actually be... Which one was that? Was that Dive Bomb or Air Razor? I don't know which one is which.
Because they've only showed up once.
The first time I screened it surprised me, actually.
Yeah, and like, you really have to hand it to the writing for this particular moment, because it was seamless. It really sounded like her. So Fracture really did his research.
Because she gives him her dad's Bronco Kowalski rookie card, because her dad had two, and it's a nice gift, and it's great. And Russell tells her, we're spraying for bugs, you can't come in, so she leaves. And comes back like 5 minutes later. I really need that card back. My dad hit the roof when he found out. He said he was going to pay for my college education. Okay, I'll give it back to you. No, you need to come down and actually hand it to me. It can't get scratched, or never mind college. I won't make it to next week. And it's all these really good turns of phrase and
really good colloquialisms.
Colloquialisms, cultural knowledge. And then it turns out it's freaking Dive Bomb. It's like, what? What?
Fracture really did his homework.
Fracture's comment is humans, so easily fooled by holofields and a little research.
Come walk down here with your human legs.
Research.
How much research? I feel like Fracture gets bored sometimes, and so while everyone else is doing their little infighting thing, he just pulls up Wikipedia and goes wiki hopping and learns things. Because how else?
Is there a website dedicated to idioms? Like, just turns of phrases that people
There actually are quite a few. But it, shows you what I research.
I was going to say, who actually does that?
I write things, and you would not believe the weird stuff you Google when you're a writer. If talk to any writer and ask them about their search history and see how quickly they clam up. Anyway, I want to see Fracture's search history for this. Like, what has he researched to make this deception work? How much does he actually know about human culture? Because I am impressed.
He's actually putting together a theater troupe. He and his two Minicons, they're going to go on the road.
He's putting together an improv cult.
I actually noticed in that scene, do the Minicons have the Decepticon symbol scratched out? Because I don't think that they do. Because everyone else has got the tracking device.
They were have it scratched out.
They weren't prisoners, though. Fracture is a bounty hunter.
That's true.
So it could be that whenever he picked up those two Minicons, that they didn't have them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
Because they weren't prisoners on the Alchemar.
These are just my shoulders. What do you want to do with my...
I'm not really a big fan of tattoos.
We all did it. You have to do it too.
Fine. Peer pressure. So Fracture and his Minicons manage to get inside the open gate, and everyone kind of scrambles for cover and fix it. Bless him. Shows up with his tiny little blaster and goes, the next one goes between your servos. Just
good
bless.
Line.
You tried.
Adorable.
But it's not Terminator mode, so it really doesn't work. And they wind up hiding out in the diner and looking for weaponry, and we have a frying pan, an egg beater, and a scalpel. And it's the best ridiculous Scooby-Doo weapons mashup you could possibly ask for. And then Optimus Prime shows up, and it's utterly moot.
Yeah, that was good timing. And we were talking about this. Do you guys think that they put Fracture in stasis, or do you think they just kind of left him there?
I think they left him there.
He's just so owned. He's out.
They're like, don't even worry about it.
It's karma, because his response to fix it was so disproportionate to like this little gun. He's like, oh, I'm going to stab it and make it explode.
Yeah.
Maybe in your hand, depending on whether you can shake it off or not.
Right.
We need the minicon. We don't need him intact.
Right.
What I really wanted from this scene is a way to turn on Fix-It's Terminator mode, because I would have just loved to have done that and then just be like, okay, that's the Decepticon, go get him.
You just want like instant brain surgery? Is that what we're doing?
I assume that there's a switch that you can flip.
It took brain surgery to make that happen.
Is that too much to ask, though?
Yes. Instant, yes.
Fate
Yes,
of
it
the
is.
world, guys.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do. The base is under attack. It's
Fair
gonna do a
enough.
heck of a lot more good than an egg beater.
They just don't have time to do that.
But yeah, Optimus showing up literally to save the day. That is probably one of the biggest Deus Ex Machinas on this show.
Quite
it's
literally.
Just anytime Optimus comes to save the day.
He's just like, hi guys, we're bookending the season with me randomly showing up to save your tailpipes. Hello.
Yep, Deus Ex
And on
Machina.
that note, let's talk about iTunes. And
Let
before
us do that.
Let's talk a little bit about Dance Battle America, because I have a fun little thing I need to tell you all. Hey guys, remember this dance battle casting we were telling you about a few months ago? Well, it all started with Maria Menounos and Derek and Julianne Huff's family dance battles 2 years ago on Instagram, and now it's America's Chance to Dance. 8 families have been chosen to come to LA and battle. Make sure you check it out. It's going to be epic. So set your DVRs now. The show is called Dance Battle America, and it airs on ABC Monday, September 14th, right after Dancing with the Stars at 10 p.m. And I think that means that it airs at 10 p.m. after Dancing with the Stars, and not that Dancing with the Stars is at 10 p.m. I can't tell. There's not enough commas in this sentence. But yeah, watch the thing. It's awesome. And while you're at it, find us on iTunes. I'm doing the salesman thing right here. I feel like Swindle. And Megan's gone.
He was a good car salesman.
He was a great car salesman, especially since he was a car. Thank you so much for watching this show, you guys, for watching, for listening, all of that wonderful stuff. And as always, find us on iTunes, like, comment, subscribe, rate us 5 stars, because we love you and you love us, and that's what keeps the lights on in the studio, and that's what lets our producers know, hey, they like talking about giant robots. Maybe we should have them talk about giant robots some more. And seriously, guys, we got 1 episode left in the season, and it is shaping up to be amazing. So let's get some really good reviews in before the season ends, yes? Yes? Because the fun thing is, if you leave reviews, we read them on air.
We do indeed. And in fact, Rosen Maiden 7 actually wrote a comment. I really, really hope this comment appears. It did, Rosen Maiden 7. It did.
Bless.
And what Rosen Maiden 7 had to say is, the show is really great, the after show is great, and you gals are great.
Aw,
thank you. You rock. And then we have one more comment from Shadowcat Prime, who labeled it creepy obsession. Wait, does that sound creepy? Or current obsession. Wait, does that sound creepy? I jumped ahead. Anyway, this person wrote, I love Transformers in and of itself, especially Robots in Disguise 2015, but this after show is pretty much my favorite TV thing right now.
Aww.
The hosts are fun to listen to, whether they're pointing out the fun parts of the episodes and oftentimes bringing up things that I hadn't even noticed or thought about, or referring to other parts of Transformers lore, or even talking about their shenanigans that take place outside of these recordings. The live chat on the YouTube side of things is always a blast, and it's always a good day when I get to join in the fun there. Aww. But even just watching and or listening to the after show itself is great fun. If you enjoy shenanigans, Transformers, Robots in Disguise, or even just laughing and having a good time, I highly recommend this program. That is so, so sweet.
That's
Thank
not
you
creepy.
so
That's
much,
super
Shadow
sweet. We
Cat
love
Prime.
you.
Guys
Aw.
are so great. And just to give a shout out to people who are on the hashtag right now, Ashley Kuwadra, who sends us all sorts of fan art. She sent a really good one of Bumblebee and Windblade during the show. And Aubrey Nolan actually sent us a screen cap of them at the diner where it looks like Bee is a little toy on one of the shelves. So go and take a look at the hashtag if you want to take a look at those pictures. So
The tiniest of Easter eggs. I love it.
yep, and I'm going to try to take a look at the hashtag in a few, or at the live chat in a few. It's really hard.
My feed is not super happy right now, so I may not be able to check the hashtag, but as always, it's ABTVRID, and we do check the hashtag between shows. So if you're watching or listening to this a week later and you have something to say about it, throw it in the hashtag and we will see it. So, we continue on with literally everything going wrong for the Autobots, because that's how this show goes when you're in the first half of the season finale. Everything has to go to hell in order for it to get better. And we cut to the statue where they are building. It's essentially a trans-dimensional ground.
They're building a Stargate. It makes me so happy.
I did music for that show.
Really? SG-1 or
Yeah.
Atlantis or?
Stargate SG-1. Or was it SG-2?
I think it was SG-1.
It was Richard Dean Anderson. SG-1. It's been a long time.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Show was fantastic.
Yeah, that was a great show, too.
So we're evidently building. I'm going to keep with that. We're building a Stargate.
Yeah.
Because the floating head sits. I can't get through that. We're building a Stargate because the floating head.
Because
sits
the
up.
robot devil said to.
Because the robot devil, who is currently a floating head, wants you to. Are we sure this is a kid's show? So they're building an arch, and it's essentially a race against time at this point. Can they complete it before the rest of the Autobots show up? And we have Grimlock pulling a Jaws, or I guess if we're going alligators, a Lake Placid, and running underwater to get there.
Right.
And Bee and Drift disguising themselves as motorists because, surprise, surprise, they're cars.
And again, they're driving by. There's a freeway by this giant statue, and no one. I mean, to be fair, I keep my eyes on the road too, but nobody else has noticed. Nobody else is rubbernecking at the giant robots.
You only ever really rubberneck if something goes down, though.
I would say robots building a Stargate is stuff going down.
This is Crown City.
That's true. They
Yeah.
do have robot fighting tournaments like in the middle of the day. So
Oh, they must be making an advertisement for the new stadium that's opening up. That's cool. That's cool. Puts blinkers on. Puts blinders on. Continues to go. Puts blinkers
maybe
on.
it's
Changes
just
lanes.
a city in like hardcore denial. Like they
I
acknowledge
thought
that
it was Philadelphia, not Egypt.
I don't know.
Oh,
Boo!
so
Regret
funny.
nothing.
Boo!
Zero regrets. Zero regrets. I'm with you though. This is a city that is either not observant or not caring. Either way, it works really well for our local robots.
But yeah, so they're building a Stargate.
I love that it was Clampdown that recognized them on the road. It was pointing them out. Steeljaw's like, human motor. Wait.
That's right. We can do that, can't we?
I recognize that speedster.
Which I really like Steeljaw's car form. Yeah.
Yeah. We don't get to see that very often. But I
No,
like it a
only the
lot.
once. But yeah, it's good. Anyway.
It's like a Batmobile,
Also-
like a Jeep Batmobile.
It kind of is.
Just to switch back just a little bit, I think you passed up the Optimus training part because there were
did
there was a
we
couple
skipped over
there were
a
a
little
couple
bit.
of moments and musically I paid a lot of attention and had to do something, some music that was really quite different.
Oh, so.
Well, maybe there was a little more emotion. There was the strings were a little busier and stuff. It was a little more flourishy kind of than what we usually do in Robots in Disguise, especially the music when we come back. Is it the beginning of Act 3 where it comes back, or is it the beginning of Act 2 and he's finishing
It's
the
Act
training?
3.
Yeah, and that's kind of the
He
very.
finished his training in the very beginning.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's a huge moment.
Yeah, when he comes back, when he's flying across the river.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Or is
I only
it the
remember
part,
the music.
Is it
Because
the
we're not
part
quite
where
there yet.
Is it the part where he's actually like in the beam of light getting his upgrade? Because that
Yeah.
was a
Yeah.
really
That was
emotional
amazing.
part
There.
because it was possible, like, even though we are joking about it that Optimus Prime dies all the time, he right now is, supposedly Earth's best hope against this force that we don't really know what it is, and they didn't really do a good job of telling him what it is, so he's going through this thing.
Why would you prepare anyone? They chosen one. Go out and fight something.
But like
What
for
is
a
it?
moment, because he didn't get to finish the training, we are uncertain if he's actually going to survive this process, because that was their concern. Not that he wasn't up to the task, but that he wasn't physically strong enough to survive the process.
Like he didn't even get past the combat stage of the training. I'm guessing that they had like a whole thing where it's like, okay, we're going to focus on you surviving this thing that's going to happen to you, right? 'Cause
Exactly.
I don't think the combat training is going to help him survive.
Turns out my Cronus is terrible at time management.
Really, seriously.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I just, from the other side of the fourth wall, it's like, he's not going to die. Like, wow, that would be super dark for a kid's show, but he'll be fine.
But it's a transformative moment,
Yes.
and so like having the strings and have that music swell because it's a big moment.
Oh yeah,
I think there's uncertainty at the beginning of it too.
Exactly. Even my Cronus has to say, "You'll survive this," and then
Right.
probably under his like, he's like, "Probably,
Yeah.
probably."
he'd better survive this, or wow, I just wasted all my time on nothing. And the audience is like, it's Optimus. He'll be fine. He'll be fine.
But it is
It's not the end of a movie. He'll be fine.
to an extent, though, it is upsetting, though, because it's not often that we see our heroes in that kind of pain.
That's true, too.
What if he did die?
I keep thinking.
What if he did die?
This is ignominious, like off-screen death. You never hear from him again.
Like, so one of the Primes contacts Bumblebee, and they're like, "Hey."
You're not going to be getting any more long-distance phone calls.
This is awkward.
Which is great for our bill, but it's terrible news for you. Yeah. Think of something really motivating, he would say, and then do that, because I'm not really good at this.
What's your situation down there? Like, what are your resources? What do we deal with?
Oh, five
That bad, huh? That
like
bad.
a couple misfits, 3 of whom have been captured. Oh,
Yeah,
good
you're
luck with
ghost.
that.
By the way,
We believe in you.
Satan's
Believe in
on his
yourself.
way. Satan's on his way, so you might wanna
Satan's
deal
already
with that.
there.
Okay, yeah. Well, that's what they said Windblade to deal with. Private saw this a bazillion years ago and went, all right, I'm going to work with you a little, and then you need to go take care of this. And that's also what's so disappointing about her being taken out so quickly, because this is supposed to be her thing. And it's not going to be. Because B is our protagonist.
And because Optimus is back.
That too. But basically, I've been waiting for this. This is what I'm here for. Or you could do it. Sure, we'll go with that.
Maybe that's
We'll go
part
with
of a
that.
big character arc in season 2. She's like, I had this destiny, and they just came in and took care of it.
Well, now I'm trying to think. Now, each of the people that's taken out, aren't they all solo? They're alone, And B, he's not taken out, but he's with Drift, so he's part of a team and working, in tandem with people. So maybe that's kind of the point of it. Is like these guys need to work together. They can't be going in, lone wolf.
Well, and
We're
now
kind
the
of getting into predictions area here.
well, and the thing with now that Megatronus actually, not to I guess jump ahead, but when
Spoilers
Megatronus
of
actually
floating at Megatronus.
steps onto the scene, I assume that everybody's been knocked back, so everybody's going to be on an even playing field, and people who didn't want to work together before are going to have to probably work together to deal with this. That's my guess.
Yeah, spoilers. Attempting to, I keep saying spoilers like y'all haven't already seen the episode. Attempting to stop the Stargate does not work. And Megatronus steps through, and it's like, that's the end of the episode. See you next week, kids. Bye.
So I brought along a version of the theme. I don't know when you want to play that.
I would like to hear that, like, right now or within the next couple of minutes. We our poor booth guy. There we go. Our booth guy
It's
is
ready.
totally on it. Let's
Yeah.
let's play that. Let's listen.
There you go.
And right here, where it changes up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm keeping that on my iTunes.
Cool.
That was goosebumps. I love it.
So the story behind that is that was actually written before I got this gig. I worked for Jeff Klein on Harold and the Purple Crayon, and then also Stuart Little. And
that was Stuart Little's theme?
yeah. Isn't this how it's just the same, right?
Finale, the series finale.
It's actually Stuart Little's
Stuart
theme
Little does
backwards, of course.
Stuart
That
Little
show
does
got
Redwall.
dark.
Holy cow.
That escalated quickly.
It's a bad mouse. No, and that's actually what you said is kind of the point, because I think Jeff, Doug, we had a great time working together, but this is kind of a different kind of show, and I heard he was doing this version of Transformers, and I'm like, man, I don't have anything like that on my reel. So I was doing another show, and I had a little extra time in the session, so I wrote this piece of music specifically with the show in mind. And it's just one of those things, because I didn't even have the gig or whatever, so how long are you going to take on that? And it was sometimes my best writing is when it's just like stream of consciousness. I just do it quick. Hey, I want to do this show, Jeff. I can do something like, sounds like Transformers. Here it is. And it came out, and it's just, it became a lot of the elements of the theme. It wasn't really intended like that. It was just, something to put on my reel to show that I had that kind of range, and that I could, that I heard the show, because that's what I heard when I thought of the show, So that actual piece of music has never appeared in total in the show. It's just something I have.
The first episode we got was the Thunderhoof episode. Right?
Yeah, we had a little bit of it, but and Dave Hartman, I think he's still playing it in his car. He really likes that tune too. So
no, it gave us
Because it's
goosebumps
amazing.
when
Thanks
we
a
first
lot.
listened to it, because when it starts off, it's very reminiscent of when they're playing the credits, and then there's that change up in the middle of it, and we both just looked at each other. We were like, oh my god!
We both stopped what we were doing and went, wait a minute, what just happened here?
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful piece, and so it's so lovely to hear it in its entirety.
Well, everybody gets to hear it now.
Yay!
AfterBuzz exclusive, guys. There you go.
It is.
Oh, it's
But
so good. I didn't have to recover.
and it's very reminiscent of Prime, but it's not Prime.
Right.
And yeah, so that's amazing that you came up with that without even having seen the show, because it's always a process. When we think of music composing, we always think of it being done after the scene is filmed and everything like that,
Right.
And be like, okay, what goes with this the best? So the fact that you hadn't the show was still in conception, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and the other side of that is that there is another part, and you talked about the music that to you sounded a little bit like
Tron. Yeah,
like Tron. So there is the electronic aspect and the more lighthearted kind of, when Fix-It is around, and that's kind of like out of tunes and weird things that we have going on. So that's another aspect of the show that obviously I hadn't done at that time, but that's I would say there's a good 30 to 40% of the show that's the lighthearted kind of, and it's the pulse of the synths and stuff, but there's the show is not as dark as Prime.
Oh, no.
And so the music is not all the way through. There's that other aspect of it.
Do you know if a soundtrack will be released?
We're hoping, but you never know.
Knock wood, guys. Write emails. Ask for one.
Yeah, there you do.
Yeah, no, if that was up on iTunes, I would throw money at it.
Yes.
I would throw money at the screen and be like, why isn't it on my computer right now?
It's a shut up and take my money sort of situation. So, yeah, guys, if you want the soundtrack, write emails, tweet people.
That's worked before. It really has.
Yeah.
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 Do the thing, win the stuff.
If you want to hear these beautiful swells, please do, because I want that.
So, what's the step-by-step for scoring a scene?
So the way it works is that we get a rough cut of the show, and a lot of things are missing. For instance, in this show, a lot of the visuals when Optimus was being trained and all that stuff, all that was missing. It was just kind of white clouds or whatever.
Occasionally we'll get something as early as an animatic, right?
Which is just pencil, or kind of, it's not even animated, but
Very rough animation.
Slideshow of storyboards, basically.
But most of the time the show's pretty close, and then we'll have a discussion with Dave Hartman, and he'll talk about one of the reasons I brought that up, that particular cue with Optimus, it was very important to him that there be a change there, and that the music be different than what we always do and stuff like that. So in this episode, there were a couple of really key moments, and Dave will always talk us through that, and then you go back, and I write to picture. So I literally have a click track or a metronome going on, and I'm watching where the beats will fall. So I look, okay, bar 3, and the third beat of bar 3 or the fourth beat of bar 3, Optimus comes in, so I have to make a change there and stuff, and so maybe I'll sketch something out with just piano, or sometimes I just kind of start jamming with, like, okay, I got a bass idea, and so I do the basses and cellos or something like that.
You've gotten like a new patch and you do like dubstep sounds.
Yeah, we definitely do that. We do dubstep things in this show too, and so we'll find that sound, oh, that'll go really good, but it, because it's animation, you don't get to do like you don't get to do a 10-minute dubstep. You get like a 10-second dubstep.
I like the
That's exactly what I was thinking. Sideswipe would be happy.
We actually have a comment on Twitter that they wanted to tell you guys from Sienna Pup 1024 that they think that the music sounds a lot like Audio Machine, and they think you guys are just doing a bang up job.
Oh man, well, thanks. That's a great compliment.
But yeah, no, and that makes a lot of sense. What you were saying too, that the music had to change because Optimus is changing. Yeah, that makes so much sense.
Yeah. There are always those kind of moments in the show where Dave will point this out to us, and maybe we might not get that, as we're just watching it through, especially if all the effects aren't finished too. So it's really good to have close communication with the director and the writers and stuff like that.
I think the most challenging part is probably when like the comedy is intercut with the action, and then we have to shift tones so quickly and make it still flow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, because the key to comedy is timing.
Yeah.
So when you're dealing with rough animations, like, how do you know exactly which moment, the punchline is going to land?
Right. Well, they're pretty good about timing the animatics for our sake.
Just the fact that the action is changing so quickly makes it so difficult to. I mean, I've been nominated for a number of Annies and as well as Emmys, and I've never won, but part of my speech would be like, all you people who are animated are, first-class composers in my book, because it's the hardest thing there is to write. I've written for film and television and all kinds of, for 30 years, and the very hardest thing to write is these sorts of animation, because things are changing all the time, and you have to go with that, and yet you have to still be musical. You can't just like randomly, put something in like you had different record. Oh, okay, now I go to a happy song, now I go to a sad song, now I go to an action song. You have to make it smoothly go through that path, and it's something that makes sense musically. That's hard.
Yeah, it's not easy to tell a story with music, but that's what you guys do for every single episode, and it's seamless.
So what's been the piece that you're most proud of for Robots in Disguise?
Well, I know what mine is, but
what's yours?
There's that scene in the arena with the where there's the Dinobots or the fake Dinobots.
Yeah, the robots are fighting.
Yeah, and it's that metal guitar.
That's
that was so
we did
much
the theme.
fun.
We did that piece of music we just played, but it was like speed metal.
It was him. I'm a piano player, keyboard here, but it was freaking awesome.
Yeah, I'm a guitarist. And in fact, it was too fast for me to play, but we had an intern who just got out of the Berklee School of Music, who all he does is shred all day long, and he was totally into speed metal, and so he burned it, and it was pretty cool. So,
yes, indeed. In fact, 3 guitarists do a different section. Everyone wanted to participate in this particular cue, so like every 4 bars or something,
did I even
different
get?
guy.
Did I get on it?
You definitely did. It was the end. It was the more like the
old thing. Slow part. That's the one I did.
Yeah, man, it was cool. It was its own type of cool. This wasn't the blurred fingers type of cool. It's fine. It was great.
Yeah, in fact, I mean, so that's actually not my proud. It's a great piece, but I mean, I would have to say for me, my favorite piece of music's the one I just played for you, because that's just one of those things where it just came out great. And again, I said it's like stream of consciousness. Sean's just working on another thing right now, and he was saying, "Wow, melodies are really hard to write," and I'm like, "Nope, no kidding." But
You don't say.
when they're the very hardest for me is when you have the most time, and that's why, because it's like it's in here. We just need to get it out, and for me, when it comes out fast, it's way better. It's always just way better.
It's just what feels right.
Yeah, it's like jamming. It's like the blues, or it's like jazz, or whatever, and it just comes out, and and that's the right thing, because it just came out like that. Because your unconscious knows what your conscious screws everything up.
So how many musicians do you guys have working on each piece?
Well, it varies. I mean, sometimes, like for the piece we just played for you, we had a small orchestra that was working. And what we do when we have a small orchestra, we'll actually usually double or triple track them. So say if we have 15 strings, then we'll do them 3 times, so we have 45 strings.
I was gonna say, it sounds like a huge orchestra.
Sounds like a London Philharmonic.
Yeah, so it's not always like that, and especially specifically when we do the dubstep stuff, then that's all electronic, and that's all coming through the box. So we kind of meld those different styles together, where appropriate.
It's pretty fantastic. Do you have any other projects that you're working on that you can tell us about?
I think we came here to talk about robots in disguise. I mean, I do the music for Jane the Virgin, but I don't think the
Oh, no, it's a self-promotion moment.
Yeah, I do a lot of I do a lot of scores for a lot of different shows. So I also do Hell on Wheels, which is on AMC.
Oh, wow.
So, and that's a very different show. I play all these really earthy guitars and stuff like that, and so they don't need to be played that fast.
Not speed metal.
It's soul. It's soul.
It is. It's soul.
I would say check out Extra History on YouTube. It's a great educational thing. They keep they keep it all really interesting, and it's James Portnow of Extra Credits who does it. And I've been doing historical period pieces, doing research on what they used to play and how they used to do it, and so I'd have to learn a new mode or something that they stay in. It's been pretty cool every month having a different time period to have to delve into.
Nice.
So yeah, actually Sean and his brother, they're kind of splitting off from me now because they're finding their own gigs and stuff, and that's a big one for them, and it's been really cool. And they call themselves Kiner Brothers Music. You can find them on SoundCloud, and they do some really, really interesting things.
Awesome. Well, let's take a minute and let's roll into predictions, because we have a cliffhanger, so predictions are... Here we go, light show time.
Now,
No light show this week.
Oh, there it is! Light show this week! Yeah! It's our last time we get to do predictions this season.
Aw, but
Unless we predict the
we
not so
can
mythical
predict season 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can do it again next week. It's
We
okay.
have to see who survives the season finale, and we'll go from there. Do you have any predictions?
I think I touched on it a little earlier. I think, and I think you mentioned it before we started recording, is that Steeljaw is going to have to team up with his former enemies. I
should have gone first.
I actually do think that Windblade is going to play a part in taking down Megatronus, because I don't think that they would have made that part of her destiny, if she wasn't going to contribute in some way, shape, or form.
On one hand, I agree. On the other hand, I have been disappointed before.
It's going to be teamwork that takes this guy down.
Yes, and I'm with you. I'm definitely expecting a hero and villain team up, because Steeljaw doesn't like this guy. He's not super fond of the floating head that tells him to do things. And now that the floating head is there and can potentially be taken down, he already had his little "you will meet your comeuppance at my hand" thing earlier, so...
Which, when he still had, before his visor came up, I thought his helmet looked very much like the Shredder.
Honestly, he looks like a
Wow.
Pokemon.
Oh, yeah. There's a good one.
A Pokemon.
He looks
One
like
of the new ones, maybe.
Or
Yeah.
possibly the Ruby, the white fang masks.
A little bit, with the
slit
lines.
eyes.
Yeah.
It did not scream big giant villain to me. It screamed
It looked like the
Pokemon.
Shredder to me, so I don't know. I thought it worked all right.
I liked it. I actually liked it better before his helmet came off.
Yeah, it had
Kind of
still a
leave
little
them
bit of mystery.
mysterious.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if the theme for that one wasn't like medieval Dark Knight.
Yeah,
Because this
for
is
sure.
Megatron. You were telling me this is the Fallen. This is the Prime that decided to go off the beaten path.
Yeah, exactly. So that is, although it could be that They might send him back through the portal. They might not even kill him. Like, they might just lock him away again. Because Decepticon engineering, that portal's probably still good to go.
You're probably right. And it is kind of how we handled Unicron for Prime. We're just going to shut him back down for a little while.
They tucked him away for 2 seasons after that whole thing wrapped up.
And then Satan showed up again. So I don't know. After having this really big thing, do you think that he'll survive and they'll keep him in the back pocket?
Like I said, they could send him back through the portal and then have him come in towards the end of the series like they did for Unicron. Because, he's the Fallen. He's a pretty bad, he's a big bad. So they could just incapacitate him for a while and then 2 seasons down the road he'll come back. To make everything come full circle. That's my guess.
I'm also wondering how they're going to handle Optimus, because we have him, he's here, he's Sir No Longer Dead, so is he going to stick around on Earth? The Prime's going to be like, you had your tenure, now you're done. How are we going to do
Maybe he's
this?
going to...
I think that's a very good observation.
He might go on a vision quest to try to find Galvatron. Yeah. He was Galvatron at the end of the series.
Oh my god, I would watch that TV program.
He's just gonna go on this journey. It's gonna be a road trip, and then when they meet up, it's gonna be a buddy cop show. It'll be great.
I would watch all of those TV programs. I want that now. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he dies again and winds up back in the realm of the Primes with them being like, good job, you tried.
It could be
heroic sacrifices all around.
It could be that him coming back to life is just a temporary thing.
Oh, I'm
that they've
sure
only
it
got
is.
so much energy to keep him in that realm for so long, and then when this task is done, he just goes back, and he's like, if you ever need me, I will come back.
Like, looking at it from the other side of the fourth wall, this is B's series. And if you throw Optimus back in there, it is no longer B's series because everyone immediately goes, Optimus Prime! I have a little figurine and I'm super happy with it. Blind bags, you guys, they're great.
It's so cute.
But if they keep him around, it's no longer B's show.
Well, because, B's whole arc is trying to figure out how to become a good leader. So, if you have his former leader there, he's going to defer to him. So that completely changes the dynamic of the way the team works.
I really, really want B to ask his advice on catchphrases before he goes back to the realm of the Primes. I want that to be a
Just
thing.
do what feels right.
I've been doing that. They've all been terrible. You tried. You really tried. Any other predictions? Anything else?
That's all I've got for now.
All right. Kevin,
I know it must be so hard.
We can't say.
It's like those are indeed predictions.
I predict that Windblade finds out that her father is M. Bison.
but for me, it was Tuesday.
That would be such a twist. He's not even in this series.
I think I need a minute to process that.
A friend of mine, whenever she doesn't want to give away any spoilers, she always says, and then the aliens came and everybody died.
And then the thing is, we watched a movie where that was the end. Like, that was legitimately the end.
Was that aliens came down at the end.
It wasn't aliens, but something. It was essentially a rocks fall ending. And if you've seen the movie, you know what we're talking about. And if you haven't seen the movie, I hope you eventually watch it unspoiled.
Came out and they killed everybody, and she totally thought we were lying.
I asked for a spoiler, like, what happened in the movie? I'm never going to see it. How did it end? They're like, oh well, this actually happened, and I went, yeah, nice try. You tell me that every time. What's the actual? No, this happened. All right.
That was legitimately the way the movie ended, and it was the best thing ever. And I can't tell you what movie it was.
Well, if we already have the aliens showing up, now everyone just has
I was going to say, we can't say that because that is legitimately a possibility. Yeah. The aliens have showed up, everyone's going to die.
Well, we also still kind of have Chekhov's humans hanging out on the sidelines. Like, all right, we convinced Optimus to bring us here, let's make ourselves useful. And that's the last we see of them this episode. So,
I'm sure that they have an arc and a part to play.
Chekhov's humans.
Yep.
Not actually Chekhov, but...
Anyway, do you have any other thoughts?
Those were all of my thoughts. I had so many thoughts. All right, Sean, Kevin, thank you so much for joining us today. Where can the people go if they want to find out more? Social media, websites, any of that fun stuff?
Yeah, you can find Kiner Brothers on SoundCloud, and if you want to go to my website, it's kevinkiner.com.
All right, Megan, where can the people find you?
You guys can tweet at me at the Menguin. That's TheMenguin. I'm also on a bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz, including Fear the Walking Dead, which is off this week. We'll be back next week, and Red vs. Blue coming up. I've also started writing articles for the Movie Chick with 2 Ks. Be sure to check those out.
You can find Emma Fife at Emma Fife, EMMAFYFFE. You can find Alexis Taurus at Alexis890. And I'm Katie Cullen. You can find me on Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram at Kiaxet. That's KIAXET. You can also find me on Snapchat at Kia Prime. I'm also on so many of the shows here. Red vs. Blue has its season finale tomorrow night. Tune in. Z Nation starts next week. Arrow starts in like a month and a half, but I'm looking forward to it.
X-Ray and Vav.
X-Ray and Vav, that'll come back eventually. And I'm also writing articles for the Movie Chick, so be sure to check that out.
And be sure to check out the Movie Chick news review show on Popcorn Talk Network.
On Tuesdays.
Yep.
Streaming live on Tuesdays. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and as always, transform and roll out!
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.